Welcome back, my friends. So before I start the video, just a little warning and info in advance, so you're able to understand the video. You should know that I started working on this video right after the release of Minman, and had most of the video done before Steve was announced. But I suck at editing, and had quite a few other issues, so it took me till now to finish the video. Yeah, I'm slow. Like, really slow. But I didn't want to throw the video in the trash can, so here we are. Now, you probably think, but why didn't you update it? Well, if I had started doing that, on top of everything else, the next Smash Bros. Game could have come out and I'd still be working on the video. So the important thing for you to know is some of the stuff in this video has already been confirmed, and other things have already been proven to be false. So just to let you know, if you get triggered by such things, this is probably not the right video for you. So let's start. Here we go. Yeah, welcome back, my friends. This is Daemonnoobland, and this time I want to talk about characters that will be part of the DLC Fighters Pass 2. Well, who are gonna be the next DLC characters for Super Smash Bros? Actually, I have no fucking clue. But I thought we could look at some themes associated with the game and with the characters, and maybe that will give us some insights about characters that could actually happen, and characters that I don't see happening. Alright, so let's start. So first of all, I want to start with the rules. Yeah, I know nobody likes rules, and I actually also don't like rules. And to be honest, I don't even like predictions. I like to talk about my wish lists, I like to talk about characters that I can support. I don't really care about characters that I can do nothing about. But I thought I'm seeing some of these themes. I could talk about it, and now I'm here. And like I said, nobody likes fan rules, but I think we have to set up some rules, to apply them, and then see who's still possible. So our first rule is that I don't think we will get any non-video game characters. So sadly, no Curry or Shrek. The second thing I think is that none of the assist trophies will become playable, which means there will also be no Waluigi as one of the DLC characters, or any of the other assist trophies, sadly. Then our next rule is no DLC Mii costumes. Now I know a lot of people still want some DLC Mii costumes, Sans has a lot of fans, and also many of the other costumes have fans, but I think they added them as a costume. I don't think they will make 2 DLCs for them. That's just not how I think it will go down. I think once they are a costume, they will not be a playable fighter. And lastly, only characters who have appeared on Nintendo systems. So sorry, but sadly no Master Chief or Kratos. And I know some of them have already appeared in some forms, like I think with Master Chief as a Minecraft skin or something like that, but I still don't see that as an actual appearance. So some main game of them should be on a Nintendo console for me to think they are likely. Lastly, I have to say obviously I have no idea, like I said. And in the end it's all up to Sakurai and Nintendo. They are the ones choosing the characters, and they can always break their own trends and their own rules, because they can do whatever they want to do. But these are the things that I believe in that will just not happen this time. Oh, and before I forget, there's also an additional rule, or at least something, that I also think is very likely. The other ones I basically already accepted in my mind. About this one I'm not too sure, but for me, like this, it just makes more sense. So this is basically my weakest assumption, you could say, that I don't think we will get any more characters from series that already got a fighter as a DLC. The biggest that is impacted by this is probably Super Mario, but I know for all the series, there are always other characters that people still want, and I just don't see it happening. And to actually make a prediction, all I need to do is really put myself in Sakurai's place, and try to look into his head. So that is just what we're gonna do now. Just one moment, Sakurai. This should be perfect.
Remember me?
Wait, what? Who? Anthony? No, nobody remembers you. What the fuck is going on? No. Oh, I think we just cut off a little too much. So how about we just try this again? Yeah, I think this is perfect. Now I can see everything that's going on in Sakurai's mind. What? You don't believe me? So, let's have a look then.
空の桜井正宏です。
Sakurai. He cares about Japanese people. Little kids. The Smash community. His own desires. And retro gamers. That's very interesting. Very interesting. So let's look at our first group of people, the little kids. Now when I'm online, I keep seeing certain characters mostly brought up by little kids. But to be honest, based on this alone, none of them stands out more or less for me. That I would say, oh, he's more likely or he is less likely. So here I just put up some of them, or I would say the most important ones that I keep seeing, including other meme characters. But then again, we already got Sans for the little kids, so I'm not too sure. Will they still get a character? They already got Sans as a costume, maybe they will just get 20 costumes instead. We're gonna see. If we look at the first Fighters Pass, plus Piranha Plant, we had 6 DLC characters. This time we have again 6 DLC characters. So I will just look at both of them now and tell you what I think. First time around we didn't have any characters that appeal to little kids. So I really believe we're gonna have at least one character for them. It could be more, but like I said, I don't know their significance. None of them stands out as a character to me, so that makes it hard. But I think at least one character they should be getting. So before we continue, let's first have a look at all the DLC characters we got so far, and see what kind of themes you can associate with them. So the first up is Piranha Plant. So Piranha Plant is obviously a Nintendo character. It's from the series Super Mario. It's a retro character. I will bring this up several times actually. What do I mean by retro? Retro means for me not younger than the Super Nintendo. Ideally actually NES. Like, you could also know that the Piranha Plant debuted on the NES, but I still see the Super Nintendo as a retro console in my definition of retro, but not anything after that. But any other console of that era is also part of it. Then it's a side character, so it's not one of our main characters. I would say that it's a what the fuck character because nobody really expected Piranha Plant. Now, if you watched my first video, I actually wanted Goomba because I somewhat was thinking there would be a time where we would start getting generic Mario enemies, but I thought Goomba had the best shot. But sadly, and I also wanted him more importantly, but sadly he didn't get in. Yeah, whatever. Important thing, I don't think a lot of people expected it. Then it's also Japanese, and it's also an enemy or villain. It's not really a villain, but it's definitely an enemy, and both concepts are quite similar. So next up is Joker, and Joker is a third-party character. And with the third-party characters, I will not talk about their series. For me, it's more important that they are third-party characters. Only within Nintendo characters will I talk about the series. And he's a new character. Now what do I mean by that? New just means for me the character is not older than 3 years, and that just means a rather recent character. And he was also similarly to Piranha Plant, a rather shocking character for many people, because he also wasn't really expected. And he also had a realistic gun, which we hadn't seen up to this point in Super Smash Bros. He's also Japanese, and the most important thing for him, he and the series has Sakurai's love. And he was also a rather promotional character, because Persona 5 is not too old, and then there were also the spin-offs and the new versions announced of it, so it was still relevant. Yeah. Next up is Hero from Dragon Quest, and Hero is also a third-party character, also a Japanese character, and what's very important for Hero is the series is very, very popular in Japan. Then he's also a 4-in-1 character, which almost makes him an avatar character. Like, I wanted to say he doesn't really have a personality, but I thought a lot of people would probably disagree with me. But him being 4-in-1 really feels like an avatar character. And lastly, he's also a promotional pick, because Dragon Quest XI had its release not too long ago. Yeah, next is Banjo-Kazooie, a character I was really happy about. Like I said in my first video, I would rather have had Conker, but Banjo-Kazooie also really great, and also really deserving. Now, he's also a third-party character, this time finally our first Western character, and a character that had tons of fan outcry for them to be included in Super Smash Bros. And then finally, after all these years, they finally got in. Another thing that is very important is that he is owned by a rival, Microsoft, which I also thought would not happen, that we get characters from rivals, but in this case it actually happened, and they put Banjo in Smash as we know. And once again, while I cannot say he was a shocking or a what the fuck character, he was definitely unexpected for people like me who were not assuming that that was even possible. So next up we have Terry. He's also a third-party character. He's also a Japanese character once again. And similarly to Banjo, he's from a competitor. In this case more of a former competitor you could say. What I mean is SNK had the Neo Geo, which was a competing console against Nintendo's consoles. And he's also a retro character. Then there's Byleth, from Fire Emblem this time. Again a Nintendo character. He's also a new character and also a promotional character for Fire Emblem Three Houses. And most importantly again, he also has Sakurai's love. For all I know, Sakurai really likes Fire Emblem. And again, he was not really expected because we already had so many Fire Emblem characters in Super Smash Bros. And a lot of people were also not quite happy about his inclusion. So I would say his inclusion was actually rather offensive. Now if you're a Fire Emblem fan, I really have to say sorry, because you probably really liked him. But for me and many others, he was just not the ideal character you could say. And lastly, our first character from Fighters Pass 2, we have Min Min. And with Min Min, it's our now third Nintendo character. She's from ARMS. She's also a new character. She also adds a new series, a new Nintendo series, to Super Smash Bros., contrary to Byleth and Piranha Plant, who are from existing series. And she's also our first true female character. And again, probably not as much as the others, but she's also rather promotional, because of ARMS, which is still on the Switch, and Nintendo might want to expand on that series, so it's also some kind of promotion. Yeah, and that's it with our DLC characters we got so far. So, now we will again look at the same themes that I just talked about, to visualize them a little more, and show you where I get my predictions from. In the first pass we had 2 Nintendo characters with Piranha Plant and Byleth. So I think in the second pass we will again get 2 Nintendo characters. We already got one with Min Min, so what I think is, we will get 1 more Nintendo character. Now I can't name any characters for this category, who I think are particularly likely. But there are 2 groups of characters who I think are at least a little more likely. First would be promotional characters, which are characters who have games on the Switch, or are supposed to get games in the near future. Now for them we could actually go through the release schedule of Nintendo games, and see if we can find any games or characters that would make sense. But I just won't do that right now. And the second group are Nintendo characters who appear in our later categories in this video. Then the next thing is new characters. So in the first pass we had 2 new characters, with Joker and Byleth. Hero does not count in this case because he was mixed and a 4-in-1. And again, I think we will have 2 new characters in Fighters Pass 2. And now going back to our groups, when we looked into Sakurai's mind, let's talk about Sakurai and what he likes. So in Fighters Pass 1, we had 2 characters that are Sakurai's favorites, you could say. Or at least from Sakurai's favorite series. And in my opinion they really are. But he had 2 characters already, so I don't really think that he will get 2 characters again. I mean 2 characters, 1/3 of the first pass, that's a lot in my opinion. That's a lot to add 2 characters that he personally really likes, but I think he won't withstand adding a character that he really likes. And I think we will this time get 1 character that Sakurai really likes. And what does Sakurai actually like? So for all I know, he likes JRPGs. And here I have to say, while Dragon Quest is also a JRPG, I think Hero was added because of another reason, which I'll talk about later. But the thing is, there are thousands of JRPGs in Japan, so the only thing that I can do for now is look at JRPGs from Nintendo that I think are likely. And the only 2 that come to my mind are Earthbound and Xenoblade. And from Earthbound, I think 2 likely characters are Pocky and Gygus. Why? Because both of them don't have spirits. And it's especially odd, as many people have already pointed out, that Pocky doesn't have a spirit. Because like I said, in my opinion Sakurai really likes Earthbound. And Pocky was a boss in Brawl, and he's a rather important character, but then he doesn't get a spirit? For me that doesn't make too much sense. Yeah, so from my understanding he might be really considered, and that's why they pulled him from the game. And Gygus is also not antagonist, so I think he's also likely. But in this case I think Pocky's more likely than Gygus, and with Xenoblade the only character that comes to my mind who could get in is Alma from Xenoblade Chronicles Cross, or X, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm not big on Xenoblade, same with Earthbound, I'm also not big on Earthbound, but I have almost no idea what's going on in Xenoblade. But what I know is, we already have Shulk, the protagonist of Xenoblade 1, and for Xenoblade 2, Rex is a Mii costume. So, based on our rules, he cannot get in. So, from my understanding, the only one that's left is Alma. Now, there's also the protagonist from that game, but I feel like a lot of people like Alma more than the protagonist. And even the developers have been focusing on Alma, as you can see in this artwork. So, for a Xenoblade character, I would really think that Alma is the most likely character, as of now. Now, the idea was that we would once again get a character Sakurai really likes, but we could also look at the reverse idea of this, and say that Bandai Namco gets a character. Now why? Because Bandai Namco is the other developer. Sakurai is one with his team, and Bandai Namco is the other one. So I could also see them getting this character this time instead of Sakurai. He got some characters, but they didn't get anyone in the first pass. They didn't even get a newcomer in Smash Ultimate, let's not forget that, and they are the ones working on the game. Now who could this character be? I have no idea. I mean, I have some characters that I consider, but there's so many Bandai Namco characters that I couldn't say, oh, this character is way more likely than any of the other characters. So right now, for me, it's really a wildcard pick. There are many Bandai Namco characters who could get in, and maybe in a future video, if that character hasn't already joined, I might talk about other possible characters from Bandai Namco that I think are actually likely. Then let's talk about characters that got in because of their Japanese popularity. So we had in Fighters Pass 1, one character with Hero. So I think in Fighters Pass 2 we'll again get a character that gets added only because of his, or not only, but mainly because of his popularity in Japan. Now you might say, no, Hero was not added because of his popularity in Japan. Hero is a really great character, and that's why he was added. But the thing is, Sakurai actually had an interview about this, where he admitted he would have been fine with Slime. So we could have gotten Slime and not Hero, but in the end we would have gotten a Dragon Quest character. Which just tells me it was not about the character, but really about the series and its Japanese popularity. But the thing is, who could this character be that gets added in Fighters Pass 2 just because of his popularity in Japan? So for all I know, there are certain things that Japanese people quite like. So the first of them is little anime girls. I know not everybody might agree with me, but sorry, for all I know, Japanese people like little anime girls. And actually there are quite a few little anime girls that could be possible, but the truth is when I looked them up, first of all, there are a ton of characters, but none of them, like with the characters for the kids, stick out to me as being more likely or less likely than the other. So there isn't even a reason to show them here, because like I said, it could be just anyone else. But I've put up some silhouettes here, maybe you can guess some of the characters. If you can guess one of the characters or all of the characters, tell me in the comments. I'm sure some of you know who these characters are. And yeah, for all I know, Japan likes little anime girls. And the next thing they like are cute little icon characters. And here I also looked at some games, and the most significant one I found was Jubanyan from the Yokai Watch series. But the thing is, Jubanyan can't even get in. Now you say what? And I say well, I looked it up, and for all I know the manga came out before the video game. So Jibanyan did not actually originate in a video game, and that would disqualify him. Now, like I said, they can always do what they want, but with the rules we have set up, it would actually really disqualify Jibanyan. But if you have more ideas for cute little liking characters, then let me know in the comments, because I really would like to know about them, and also may even consider them for a future video, because based on this idea, they would actually have a good chance to get into Super Smash Bros. Now, we can also look at the opposite of popular Japanese characters, and for me, there would be characters that would be popular in the entire world, not just in Japan. Now, in the first pass, in my opinion, we didn't have such a character, so I think instead of getting that Japanese character, we could get a character who's popular in the whole world. And now this is not exclusive, it could be both obviously, so popular in Japan and popular in the whole world. But the thing is, the Japanese think that Westerners have a weird taste, and Westerners often think that the Japanese have a weird taste, so they often don't quite intersect, I would say. But then again, who are the most popular characters in the world? Well, one thing that you could consider is something a lot of people love, and that is money. So if you look at the games that made the most money, we would have Minecraft, Grand Theft Auto, and Fortnite. So Minecraft, for all I know, is the best-selling game ever, and Grand Theft Auto, for all I know, is the best-selling gaming series, at least from all the series that are not in Smash yet, and Fortnite, for all I know, is the most played game, and also the game that creates the most money with its DLC content. So these three are, in my opinion, very likely, just because of the fact that they are so profitable. And because they are so profitable, it tells Nintendo that a lot of people like them. That's why they play them. That's why they buy them. That's why they know them in the entire world. So the next thing that I associate with being popular in the entire world is being associated with real-life events. And I was thinking hard, but there was one thing that really caught my eye, and that was the Olympics. And do you by any chance know where the Olympics were gonna be held in 2020? Well, as it happens, they were planned to be held in Tokyo. Now, because of the situation, they've been moved to 2021, but that actually makes this idea more likely, because then maybe the character's also been pushed to 2021. But yeah, that's a really big real-life event, so I could see Nintendo also considering that for characters that are popular in the entire world. And when I think about it, only really 3 character ideas come to my mind. Again, if you have any characters that you can tie to the Olympics, let me know. I really would love to know. But the first one is Cinderace. He's like a football player, and he's also a Pokemon character, and a lot of people already think we will get a Pokemon character, and he's associated with sports, and he's from a big series, and he's from Nintendo. And that makes him likely for me. The next one is the Ring Fit trainee. We already have the Wii Fit trainer, so we know already that characters like that are actually possible. So who knows? Maybe Ring Fit trainee is the one. In my opinion, Ring Fit trainee actually fits a little more, but obviously Pokemon is the bigger series. And then there's one last possibility that I see, because there's actually a game tied to the Olympics, and that's Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. And as I said, I don't think Mario characters will join, so that leaves us with Sonic characters. And most of them are already deconfirmed by our rules, so when I looked at them, there were only really 2 that stood out, first being Dr. Eggman, the main villain of the Sonic games and Sonic's main rival, and then also Metal Sonic. But just as I've said with another character in this video, I think one is more likely than the other. And in this case, I think Dr. Eggman is way more likely. Why? Because he is unique, but we already have a Sonic in the game. But I wouldn't say that Metal Sonic is completely out of the window, so I also put him up here. You can check all of the characters yourself, and tell me if you think about this a little differently, but in my opinion, these are really the most likely ones from Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. And the last thing that Nintendo and Sakurai could consider for characters that are popular in the entire world is, well, pop culture. Pop culture and media. And in my opinion, the 2 most important items to name here are movies and TV series, and anime and manga. But anime and manga is especially important because it's popular in Japan, and it's popular in the entire world, and it's popular in Japan because it is Japanese, or it happens to be Japanese, but that's just how it is. But that would be another area that I could see a character being based on. But I will talk a little later about this in another theory of mine. So another group Sakurai had in his mind was the Smash community. The Smash community, actually there's no real Smash community. They're obviously the pro players, though I'm not so much talking about the pro players here. It's really more about the fans who keep requesting their characters, who keep supporting characters that they want, online or even offline, however they might do it, but they keep supporting the characters that they want. And that's how I think Banjo and Kazooie got in, because of the fan demand. And I think that we will once again get a character, or it is very very likely that we will get a character based on the Smash community's demand. And now you can say, yeah, no, Sakurai doesn't do that, Sakurai doesn't, or Nintendo doesn't care about the fan demand. People can whine all day long, but it won't change anything in Smash. Well, even in this clip we can look at, you can see that he actually does.
とてもまとめるのが難しかったのですが、特に海外からの要望がすごく高かったために、リドリーを実践させることにしました。
And because of that, it was very hard to actually get him into the game in a working condition, but there was a lot of outcry from fans, especially overseas, so we decided to put him in.
And I hope you also see it like this now. But the thing is, who could this character popular in the Smash community be? Actually, I have no idea. Ridley was really big, Banjo-Kazooie was really big, King K. Rool was not that big, but he was also important, I would say. But right now, there's no character where I can say, oh, this character is way more likely than all the other ones. Some people like to act like that is actually the case, but sorry, I just don't see it like that. But I do think one of them is also still possible. Yeah, and I think this is a good point to end this part. The video just got way longer than I expected, so we'll continue in part 2. If you have questions, criticism, or anything else, just leave a comment below. And remember this, my friends, you're in the Daemonnoobland.